Right now, guys, it's the Trinity Force Podcast, episode number 337. Thank you so much for listening. Without the normal lead-in to this episode, I don't think anybody's ready to start podcasting yet.
What's going on?
Oh my god, there was no 30 seconds of silence.
I don't know what I'm doing here.
Who does?
I'm going to take 30 seconds of silence anyways.
4.
Just because. Tradition.
Aren't you supposed to do it for something? Like someone dies or like something's lost.
I mean, I guess, but this seems like kind of an inappropriate time to do that.
You can do it while I do the intro. So, guys, my name is Adam Ponophobia Cogswell. Like I said, you are listening to the Trinity Force Podcast. Tonight, we are going to talk about patch 6.4. So this should be hitting your feed sometime, hopefully on Wednesday, if not Thursday. They usually release them on Wednesday, so it'll be coming at some point during the day for you. With me this week is Punchinello.
Hey, everybody.
Cereal Box.
As I take a drink, shit.
Tally Nasty.
Sup, bitches?
And Chira Jaden.
I made it. Yay.
Hooray! So, you guys want to hear some really good news?
Yes.
Sure.
Oh, we're going to PAX!
Fuck yeah.
Yes.
Come
Wait,
on.
what part of that was news?
I don't know. I just want people to know that we're going to be in PAX East. I'm going to continue.
I was really excited for a sec because I know
Yeah, I
you're
wanted some
talking
news.
to people later on about that, but
Well, I do
that's
have
just
some really good. I do have some good different news about that already, but I can't say it out loud.
Well, stop making announcements of announcements.
sign language. I understand it.
future
Use sign
announcements.
language. That I can't. Oh,
I
that
don't think
that
that's
I
really sound
understand.
language.
And now we're back in second
So
grade.
that's what we're doing in Boston is a lot of sex stuff.
Wow. All right. So we're gonna.
It's gonna be a fun house.
It's gonna be a full house. If you don't
Oh God. I'm not going anymore.
And why do we have to pre-record this? Because it doesn't seem like we're going to actually cover anything Riot gave us.
we before we get to patch 6.4, we are going to say congratulations to the Just Okay Gamers as they were the winners of our 5v5 Inter podcast tournament that we held this last Saturday. Frown Power was gracious to put that all together, and if you were part of the tournament, thank you. 1, thank you for playing. 2, I hope you enjoyed the prizes. If you made it in the top, I think 4 teams, maybe 3 teams. I can't remember exact numbers that one. But hey, you got prizes if you were up there. And we are going to be sending you guys an email with a survey for feedback because we want feedback on the tournament, and it'll guide you through and ask you how it ran, if there were certain points that you didn't, things you didn't like, things that you liked, and so that way the next tournament we put on hopefully runs a little bit more smoothly. Though I did hear that while there were hiccups at the beginning, that it went like swimmingly right after they got the teams put together and taken off. Like there really wasn't any screaming or yelling or bitching, so that's a good thing.
Be sure to include your favorite shoutcaster and how much you loved him.
Yes, thank you for Tally Nasty and Mojo Dojo for standing in and shoutcasting for a very long time on Saturday.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, unfortunately, our normal shoutcasters weren't there, but hey, you guys stepped up and took care of it and made it work so people could watch it. Everyone loved and enjoyed watching the 5v5. We are going to wrap a little bit more about the 5v5 tournament and some of the things that we noticed in the tournament. Because I'm going to go back and watch some of the VODs. I know Tally wants to talk about some of the junglers and stuff and how they played, and we were making some points at the end of the games, kind of treating it like a little bit of a battle arena, like you should be doing this, you should be doing that, or just kind of having fun with it. So we're going to point out some things that we noticed, like some of the very common flaws that we noticed, and try to use those as talking points to tell you guys about, but not until we are done with patch 6.4, which it may take us more than one day to get through. Hopefully not. With that said, we are going right into it. If you guys have been following the PBE cycle and listening to us, we've already talked about some of the patch 6.4 notes, mainly the Warlords change. We talked about Jerem's Fist and Steric's Gauge. We talked a little bit about the movement speed and the tenacity and stuff. So we covered pretty much the items, and there are a few other changes in this patch we'll go over later. But we're going to start right at the top and what you're looking at, and that's with Ahri. Charm no longer stops dashes in their tracks. So, Charm no longer interrupts dashes. That's her E.
Good.
Tiny
It's
nerf.
frustrating.
I mean, yeah.
They
I wonder
said
if-
that's the only taunt, I believe it was, that stopped dashes was the main reason for this, because it acted uniquely in a way that didn't make sense compared to everyone else's skills that were similar. So yeah, it's great for anyone who doesn't play Ahri, anyone who's tired of getting caught when you're like Lucian dashing away. But
Anyone who's dashing away and then a really good Ahri lands that charm on you, and then you're very sad because you just get stopped midway through and don't escape.
I'm trying to think of a situation where I was Corky and during my W, Shen taunted me. Or something like that. I don't think that's ever happened. I know that's happened with Ari before, but
What happens?
I
with,
guess
like,
if it takes-
Tristana
well, you
and
can-
Corki though. You can stop them mid.
No, it should continue. Like Corki should continue through it, but then be taunted when he
And then
finishes.
run back towards you
Yeah,
once
yeah.
Well,
you land.
it says it works the same as stuns now.
Yeah,
Where
which
like
is
you'll finish your dash and then you'll be stunned. I mean, how many times do you get hit by a Morgana Q but you finish her and then you're stunned?
that's every time.
Yeah,
Every
but
time Morgana Q comes out.
Yeah. But the cool thing about this that I'm thinking about right now is that it kind of works to your advantage to kind of buffer some of that charm duration. Because if you're dashing and your dash takes a half a second, then charm is a second and a half, then a half a second of that charm is already wasted.
That's what I was going to ask. If you get charmed mid dash or get stunned mid dash, does the countdown timer start ticking the moment you're hit?
It should.
Okay. I'm not sure if that's like a weird interaction where
Yes.
it doesn't, but I would assume that somebody has already done the math on that. So
Yeah,
'Cause it's technically a taunt, isn't it?
it's
is it-
unique, but because taunt you don't attack, or it's a taunt where you don't attack them. You just
Yeah,
walk
that's right.
them.
That's right.
It's unique, and they made it a little bit less unique and a little bit. I mean, it's an interesting way to do a nerf that doesn't take too much
does it take any
blatant power
away?
out of a kit. Yeah, it's kind of that hidden power that you never really stop to think about, I guess, unless you played a shit ton of mid lane, I guess.
Some other changes go on this patch. We see Ashe and Sivir, our utility carries, are getting some updates. First, we'll talk about Ashe. So Q ranges focus. Focus stacks they no longer fall off entirely after 4 seconds. Instead, they fall off one at a time after 4 seconds, and the active duration has gone up to 5 seconds.
Active when you're firing the multiple shots thing has gone up.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. What I don't know is how quickly after that 4 seconds start I guess hits. Does it go quickly, like a second per stack?
Yeah, it is. It's really quick.
I mean, I figure it's got to be around that kind of time frame, but it doesn't say exactly what it is here.
I really like this buff, and I've been thinking about it a lot because I just played Ashe the other day for fun, and I noticed that it can be really difficult to keep that focus up. You know, if a trade happens or they wait for it to fall off and then they'll trade with you, that having even 2 stacks to start the trade is better, obviously, than none. And it gives her a little bit more of that lane presence back. Like, it's giving her power without actually buffing any of her stats because she can reach her abilities more quickly.
And she needs it too, because like in trades, she really doesn't have anything else because she has an E that doesn't do anything for you except give you vision potentially, and then W, you get 1 or 2 of those off, like 1 off realistically in a little skirmish in bot lane. So getting that more easily is very, very helpful, especially and getting an extra second on the active is real nice too. That's an extra probably 1, maybe 2, depending on what level how many attack speed items you have. Autos you're getting with the, I don't know, there's like triple shot, 5 septuple shot, whatever.
Flurry.
I'm gonna stick with like quadruple. I'm just gonna keep doing a different number each time.
X double shot. Punch, do you have
Second.
anything? You look like...
yeah, I'm contemplating this change. I see what you're saying about giving her lane presence, but I think she's always been pretty strong in lane. I think that right now, it's just that her being strong in lane really isn't enough. Like, there's a lot of marksmen that are strong in lane, and then even better outside of it when you get into team fights and stuff. And Ashe doesn't really shine there. She could largely ignorable in a team fight,
Sure.
compared to some of the other ones. So I feel like this could actually help out with her team fight damage a lot. But
To give her that extra second or two?
yeah, to what
That-
extent, I'm not
yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
if she's
problem
gonna
with
start
team
seeing my
fights. It's the same problem with team fights happens though, is that she won't have focus going unless she's attacking Scuttle or Dragon or whatever it may be. If you're fighting around
But if you have
objective.
to kite back for 4 seconds and then try to re-enter a fight, you're on with 0. You don't re-enter with 0 stacks. I could see how it helps her, but this is another kind of like the Ari thing. It's a minor buff. This is a little bit more noticeable, and I think it'll help her a little bit more. But I don't think this is going to really bring her back into play.
I was talking...
You're still gonna max W first, right? Because like you're not
Yeah.
getting very much. Like I was just looking at the stats. You still only get 1% extra AD per arrow per level on Q. It starts at 23, goes to 27. You get some extra bonus attack speed, but yeah, I feel like the cooldown reduction on W is still way, way, way too
It's just
good.
too strong in lane.
Yeah, going from 12 to 4 seconds. That's like a Vladimir Q, level of cooldown that just happens when you skill it.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
What do you max second? Usually Q.
Then
I don't-
probably
I don't
Q.
remember.
Yep.
I can't imagine you would ever since there's no more gold that you like gold generation doesn't go up on E, and all you're getting is just like 10 seconds of recharge time is nice per level on your E, but Yeah.
I want damage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
damage is
you
better.
need the damage and more, and you do get a little bit of attack speed, which is probably more damage than you're getting from just the.
I was
the
chatting
percentage.
with Dom about a lot of these changes today because he seems to be the guy that I talk to the most about the patch notes throughout the day, and I kept bringing it up. Well, he kept saying, "Well, does this make this come into play?" Or he, make a point. I think this will come back. And my counter argument was always, "Well, do you think this is a solo queue buff, or do you think this is a professional player buff?" Because I look at this, and this doesn't look like a solo queue buff to me, because utility carries aren't really
Sure.
great for solo queue. Same thing with Sivir. That's kind of like a professional buff. That's not a solo queue buff. We'll talk about that. And there's some other changes in here. Same thing. They are professional player buffs or nerfs rather than solo queue player. I mean, not for the most part, but there are.
I see that, but at the same time, when Ashe was good, you could really turn a game around with an Ashe ult. I mean that.
And you still can, though, in solo queue. That's my point. It doesn't suddenly push her up to like must pick ban solo queue level, like kind of like an Udyr became. Instead, she's a little more powerful, and maybe if she was on the brink of being good and you were decent with her, now you'll be good with her. Or, you know what I mean? Like you'll have that.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking along the lines of point and click initiation is really good in solo queue.
Sure.
So the only thing that was keeping her back was just it doesn't do as much damage as the other carries, frankly.
I think that it might not be. I think it actually might be the opposite, Pone, from my perspective, where it's not very much of a buff to like very, very skilled players on Ashe, but helps the less skilled players on her being able to keep that up a bit more. Kind of like the Alistar change was not the WQ buffering wasn't exactly a pro player buff. I hope that they didn't need that
No,
to be
but
able to
that
hit the
made
combo.
the pro players even better at the champion.
Well, yeah, of course,
now.
but it's something that they should already be able to do. Whereas I think a pro player would be able to would know how to utilize the focus more. Not that saying that it's not going to help them, but I think it's going to be more. A solo queue player can utilize it more easily, and it'll make them easier to play.
Yes, but like to go back to Alistar, he's not a very good person to gauge on, because now that you can just always do that combo, that made him that much scarier, because that's one less mechanic that you have to rely on as a pro player. Now instead you can worry about your positioning rather than making sure you time shit correctly or whatever it may be. Or you can you get that W off, and then if you're not fast enough, you get it off anyway. We could go into and talk about that.
What's another way to look at this? If you're looking at just the active duration going from 4 seconds to 5 seconds, that's a 25% increase in.
That's pretty nice.
Then that's your burst. Your W and your Q is your burst. So that's a 25% increase to your burst.
It's a lot of damage. Let's talk about Caitlyn. So right now, they want to make they essentially, the notes say they want to make E a little bit more enticing for her, but they understand that Yordle snap traps are just too good to put down.
Because you can
put
put down
way, they
them
wanna
so
make-
quickly.
They want to make W more enticing.
No, people
Right now, there's just disconnect from the player base about what do we level second, W or E.
Yeah, sorry.
They want to make it so that E is the 1-point wonder, and that people know, hey, you should be putting points in W because that's really good.
Okay.
So they made it better.
Yeah, sorry. That's what I meant.
So now everyone's gonna fucking do that shit.
Well,
God
they should
damn
have
it.
been. People, if anyone's watching Caitlyn at all, they should be putting points in the W.
Yeah.
Because you get so many. Yordle Snap Trap increased headshot damage on trap targets. It was 10 to 50%. It is now a flat 30 to 190 plus 0.7 attack damage.
I did a little bit of math, which means I'm wrong, but assuming so that extra percentage is extra percentage damage on your headshot. So if you take your headshot damage, you can take a percentage of that. And at 10% up to level H, which is where you put the second point to W, you'd get like around 10 damage. So not very impressive compared to 30 damage at rank 1 here. And I don't even think this falls off late game because of that 0.7 attack damage scaling that you has now. That's pretty damn good. So it's better early, and I don't really think it falls off either.
I couldn't imagine it falls off, especially if they're trying to make you put points into it. I know we didn't run all the entirety of the Excel spreadsheet on it, but for next time.
And they
Sorry, I
buffed
was
90 caliber net.
Yeah, I was reading the
little
tooltip
bit.
to see if it was worth talking about. Trap clarity. Snap traps now display their area of effect range to Caitlyn. So when you drop it, you can see where people will walk into it. 90 caliber net. Cooldown was 18 to 10 seconds. It is now 16 to 10 seconds. So you get an extra... You reduce 2 seconds off the top cooldown on it.
Sweet.
Sweet. You get to use it 2 seconds earlier if you have the mana for it.
It's always, it's always scary when you use it in lane, and then like, oh god, I could get ganked at any second, and my E is down because he's screwed. But
Just put 5
Yeah.
traps down, you'll be good.
there you go. That's the solution.
Is it one per? Oh, you. Okay, sorry. I was seeing how many maximum you could put down, but you don't get that 5 till max rank.
Right.
So yeah.
Let's talk about Ezreal. Back in patch 5.24, they were giving Ezreal a greater reward for hitting Mystic Shot, and because of that, along with all the other marksman changes, he's become really powerful. So they want to remove some of his power away without actually taking some of the inherent power from his kit. So they've just increased the cooldown of R up to 120 seconds from 80 seconds.
That's a big chunk of time.
That is a giant chunk of time. Like, Ezreal can't just clear
50%.
waves.
But at the same time, I'm okay with them adding that much time when it was
yeah.
up almost every 35 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he's
I
going to
mean,
get it back faster than it actually appears because of that passive
Right.
and whatnot.
Oh wait, I didn't. So
This
I didn't
change is
realize
built
that.
around 40% cooldown reduction.
Well, I didn't realize that. Okay, so that's a 50% increase in the cooldown. It's also they gave 50% more cooldown reduction on your Q hit like a couple patches ago. So that's our like they're trying to bring it back down to okay. It doesn't make sense that he can fire True Shot barrages kind of like the what was it the really hardcore bots could fire Lux ults every direction. That's pretty much what Ezreal was able to do.
Right.
Yeah.
As long as he's
I
landing
mean,
his Qs.
he's strong enough of a marksman that he doesn't need that. It's nice. You could use it just to clear waves, and then it's up for the next team fight anyway. And you could use it willy nilly. It's not like a real decision you have to make. It's not a hard decision. You could just use it, and it'll be back up anyway.
It's
and he's
not
a
like.
good.
Sorry, I just want to say it's not like Draven ult, which is something I had learned the hard way when I was learning Draven. Where I picked up Draven, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just going to use his ult like Ezreal. Clear the wave! But it turns out, since it's one, a longer cooldown, and two, it does more damage, you really should save it for team fights. So Ezreal's got that luxury where someone like Draven does not.
And you don't have that Ezreal passive just chipping away at it.
Bringing it back, right?
Yeah. He's still going to be good. I mean, his team fight is just insane with the current itemization of him.
I think we need to talk. Okay, so the next change in this patch is Fiora, and I'm going to couple this with the Hydra slash Ravenous Hydra slash Titanic Hydra change all in one, because that is like, I almost feel
It's
like
for her.
yeah, they are starting to gut Fiora if they didn't already gut her with this. I don't think it's she's
Thank
completely
fucking
done.
God.
Yeah, I've seen almost way too much Fiora to care at this point.
Yeah.
So riposte cooldown was 19 to 15 seconds. It's now 24 to 16 seconds, so up higher early. Blade work cooldown was 15 to 7. It is now 13 to 5. But the cooldown now starts after you've landed the second hit rather than on cast. So making it a little bit more clarity in how it works.
Yeah, I really don't think that second change really hurts all that much. Assuming you're using E and getting those 2 hits off right away. I mean, what you could do before is use the first hit on E and then just kind of zone out with the second one, but like it doesn't really accomplish all that much. You're better off just using it one after the other in trades and skirmishes, and then you're probably going to have the same cooldown as you did before.
Yeah, the blade work change not a big deal. Riposte change, definitely. Again, that kind of like reminds me of more of like a pro player, a really good player type of change where you'll have riposte back up more quickly. But were you even maxing riposte? Weren't you doing QE?
Yeah, it was QE. W, so this is 5 more seconds she has to wait before she can go on an aggressive engage. That's the way I see it. I mean, you could be kind of reckless with Fiora, dive somebody with Q, and then start using E, so long as you timed your W right to block whatever their big response is. Like, let's just say Olaf, and she times W right to block E, which is really hard to do, but go with me on this.
Okay.
So now she has to wait 5 more seconds before she can do that again. Again, they're creating a larger window of opportunity for people to play against Fiora. And if you got W up all the time, then it's really frustrating, because you can't fight her back.
Which is good considering what was it, 2 patches ago we talked about how they changed the way that the vitals worked, so that you have to try to pay attention where the vitals are at on your character. Well, now they alternate. To couple this with the Titanic Hydra and Ravenous Hydra change, you can no longer switch between them willy-nilly throughout the game for free. So you can't switch at all. No more switching. Whatever path you pick is what you stay with.
Every time they introduce something like that in the game, they end up removing it because it becomes too powerful. They did the same thing with the jungle smiteums a while back, remember? And then they got rid of it.
Isn't there something soon? Like, feel like there's another one of those that's happening near future, but I might have
I
just.
didn't see it. Well, so the people that aren't aware, if you haven't been watching Pro Play or you haven't been watching Pro Fioras, a lot of them will rush Jerem's Fist because it gives her. It's kind of like it gives her that trade potential plus extra life, and then she gets all the auto attack resets off of the Titanic Hydra. And if she's really ahead, she can switch over to the Ravenous later if she wants it. I want to say I see more of them sit on the Titanic anyway, but it makes it so she has to choose which path she wants to go down, and she can never gain more power later in the game for doing nothing. For just building the item, she can potentially gain more power.
I think in solo queue you'd see a lot more Ravenous Hydra, assuming, well, yeah, even if you're losing the game, which is probably definitely incorrect. But if you're winning the lane, then yes, you can go Ravenous Hydra first and just snowball from there. Which I guess will still be the case, but definitely in pro play where lanes are typically more even, you're going to see a lot of that Jerem's Fist first.
I won't be sad to see less Fiora.
I won't either. I've stopped banning her, but it's because we've seen a lot more. Well, shit. There's a lot of other people that can start. There's actually some people coming in, like kind of like Tank Akali and stuff, that can fight top Fiora now. But that's a conversation for another time. Let's talk about Gangplank. Because Fiora didn't get gutted, right? Like you read the notes, like they're just starting to look at her, potentially starting to gut her. If you look at these changes to Gangplank, this is like a complete and total gut of Gangplank. Like if we see Gangplank ever again in professional play, it's because he gets a buff. They have. Yeah, this hurts. Q parlay gold plundered went down from it used to be 4 to 8. It is now 2 to 6. So they halved it at early levels at rank 1. I mean, you were maxing Q anyway, but your gold generation has significantly decreased. Powder keg maximum barrels goes to was here. It was 2 to 5. It is now 3 at all levels.
Freeze riot! I love that change.
Yeah,
Well, it makes him a little bit stronger. I mean, a little. Yeah, it makes him a little bit stronger 1 to 8 though, because he gets 3 rather than 2.
Don't care. It's so frustrating wiping all those barrels, and then there's another one, and there's always another one. There's a never-ending stream of barrels. I'm like, just stop it. Just stop trying to zone me out.
and you only have to land one to have a bad day. So
to have a bad day. And then Cannon Barrage no longer increases the maximum number of barrels. That's because they changed. Oh, the ammo recharge time as well. It used to be 18 to 14, is now 18 to 10. So since they made it 3 at all ranks, they made it so that he can get the barrels back more quickly. But this really hurts his mid to late game potential. And you can't start dropping four barrels at around what, level 11? Is that what it is? 12? 12.
Well, yeah. No, 11 would be when you could drop.
11's alt.
Yeah, that's exactly what
you're
it
right.
was saying.
Yeah, sorry. Right, because you put another point in the cannon barrage, so it ups the number of barrels. But the gold plunder, I mean, if anything, the amount of gold that
That's
you're
big.
plundering, it's just so
Because
gigantic.
if I remember correctly, when a barrel kills minions and you've parlayed the barrel, does it give all that
Yes.
bonus gold? So that's what was giving you a ton of gold, and I think it's equal to the amount of silver serpents you get too, right? That you can use to upgrade his ult. So yeah, that's probably the biggest gut.
Well, you're gaining an
going down a
extra
bunch.
44 to 47 gold per wave around level 11. When you queue a wave with a barrel, that stacks up real fast, and that's why we see him hit his spike so much more quickly than other people, because he's gaining an extra 50 gold every 30 seconds.
And he's getting to upgrade his ult even quicker.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not just that he's getting that much more money. He's getting that much more money and doing more damage. Like he's getting extra money at the benefit of still doing more damage, and now he's buying extra things to do more damage with. I am happy that they removed some of this, because like in a way, if you left the Gangplank lane, and Adam, you ran into this situation firsthand when you played Lysandra into Gangplank a couple weeks ago with me in ranked. You were out of lane just a little too long,
Yeah.
and Gangplank was like an item ahead of you before you even hit a power spike.
And I missed maybe 2 waves.
Yeah, and there was nothing you could do about it at that point.
Yeah, you can't. You come back, and if I didn't get a successful gank, or if I didn't get a successful kill in that gank, like I had to get the 300 gold, it wasn't worth it.
Just to break even with what he was at.
Right.
He's such a weird champ to me, and he used the full AD build on him just pisses me off, because when it happens, like it did to me last night, It's just one barrel, and then you're slowed, and then he walks up and one hit crits you, and
his passive hits you, and then
you pass, and you cry a bunch, and then you res, and then there's already barrels in your fountain, and you die to those.
Yeah,
Even though I'm pretty sure you probably can't do that.
Happens all the time.
I've never
It's a
seen
bit-
that happen.
Well,
I think the
rezzing,
laser
but
would
you're
kill it.
already
I
in the
think laser would kill
shower
it.
scrubbing yourself and crying because it hurts
Yeah.
so bad.
Writing an angry email to Riot.
Well, that's when you
I
send a
can't believe
tweet.
you made Gangplank this strong.
You send a link to Twitch where you're streaming yourself crying in the shower with
In
all
the
your
shower,
clothes on.
scrubbing
With all
yourself.
your clothes on, so you don't get banned, even though I'm already banned. But
You still categorize it under League of Legends for the game.
it's what tilted me that hard that I had
I'm
to keep streaming this.
I'm showering in the tears of.
It's saltiness. It's understood to be League.
That's what I'm trying to wash off is all the salt with my loofah.
I think it's good they're removing some of the hidden power. I actually was just thinking. I just had a thought. I wonder if they're making Gangplank as a new champion from scratch and not a rework, with this gold plundered being a thing in the previous version. If they even would ever do this to this kit, it kind of made a little bit more sense for the old kit that didn't have much to it. It was a lot more simple. But if you were making this character from scratch, why would you even put gold plundered in there?
I mean, it's a really cool idea to be able to, if you get good with barrels and you can get the waves down, you understand it, you can get a lot of gold. Like, it rewards
A mini game.
gameplay. Yeah, it's like a little mini game. It rewards good gameplay, rewards wave management, etc. But like, the unfortunate side effect of that was they added too many barrels to the game, and the barrels do too much damage when they're chained together. So,
Why
or
wouldn't
you can
they
chain
just,
too many
like,
barrels too quickly.
I don't know if anyone will agree with me here, but why wouldn't you just either decrease the amount of either the gold or the serpents, but not both? I know that it was having a 1-to-1 ratio,
decrease
but
the serpents though.
no, but it did. That should be I believe it's the same amount, regardless. Yeah, it's equal. Gangplank plunders an equal number of gold and silver serpents.
Right.
So that's nerfing both, which I feel like they could have just done one and said, okay, that's probably good. If we need to keep toning it down, we can. But I think this is just like a huge, like over nerf. And I think
let's
I
not
don't
up to an oversight, as in they didn't realize what they were nerfing, and they were like, "Gangplank's getting too much gold," and then they were like, "Oh, they'll come back."
And then
later."
he'll never get his ult upgraded now. And I have not played Gangplank rework yet, but I can imagine that when you're taking away half of the generation of it, you're probably not going to be getting it very quickly.
It's not a true half though. It's just a half.
It
Burley.
is.
No, because it still goes up
yes,
to 6.
it's by 2 each time though. By 2
For the first
permanently.
level.
It's by 2
Yeah.
for the whole thing, for each level.
Yeah.
So
But I mean, they just also nerfed his ult cooldown, right? They made it a lot higher.
Yes.
So this is
previous
another
patches.
so this is another nerf to the ult indirectly, and a nerf to the Q, and a nerf to powder keg.
Well, let's move
But
on.
I mean,
Let's talk about
yeah,
Malawi.
his global's already too strong, so it's fine with me. I mean, but yeah,
Just when it's upgraded though. Well, actually, they changed it. What did they change his ult before they did his rework that allowed
Yeah.
it to always hit? Like everybody got hit in it rather
Yes.
than
It used to be
hits in
RNG.
waves everywhere instead of RNG.
Yeah, that was such a good.
the good old days.
God, that was
No,
awesome.
that sucked.
No,
That
no.
was-
Back before the rework, it was random, and then they changed it so it.
Oh
always
yeah,
hit
I
everybody.
agree. Yeah. Okay, we're on the same page. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's talk about Alawi because this is the only person in the world that this matters to is Crazy Phil. But
That's for you, buddy.
I watched Crazy Phil play Alawi the other day, and I clicked. I went, that makes sense. Like how he played him and how he would place the tentacles and how he would use his abilities and how he would chain them together and everything. Like I was like, that makes sense, and it clicked. And I was like, okay, Alawi's a really strong character until your team is behind and you're the only engage, and Alawi has 0 engage. So.
Yep.
So what they did with Alawi is R, Leap of Faith. Alawi is now immune to being displaced while in her cast animation. So she can get her ult off now, which is probably a good thing for her.
Yeah. It would
Now,
suck
if you can
if Jack
extend
did
that
or
to
something.
her being immune to death during her cast animation, then I might be able to play her. That's my problem. As I go in, I jump up, and then I die because I suck with Alawi.
I kind of want to go play Alawi
far
tonight.
behind.
That's happening. We're playing a normal and I'm playing Alawi.
You realize that change isn't in effect, right?
I don't care. I still want to play Alawi.
All right, just as long as if you get pissed off, if you get too drunk and you're like, I got displaced, what the hell? I thought this was changed. You're like, Pwn. Remember how we recorded this early?
No, we're going to go play because we're going to go practice. But we're going to practice in normals rather than ranked because we're all
Yeah, and
terrible.
I'm in my series, and I don't
Yeah,
wanna...
well, there's that too. All right, let's talk about Jhin, because we all saw the changes in this render at 20, but there is an extra change in this patch for Jhin, which you all go, oh, that's a really unique and neat change. So, base movement speed has been increased by 5 up to 330, base health regen up to 6 from 5.5, health regen gross stat up by 0.05, and they updated the recommended items. So, little quality of life buffs to make him a little bit more playable in lane and give him a little bit more sustain. I mean, all things considered, I've seen him play. I agree with these, but I've never played as him. I'll defer to Punch and Serial on that one.
I really want to know what his recommended items are now. Like, I don't. It doesn't say what they're going to be. I can assume based on what everyone's been picking, but yeah, that could be interesting. That's nice. Those are nice quality of life buffs when he's already so immobile. You just give him a little extra move speed. Why not?
Yeah, nothing big there. I agree.
A little bit of health regen so he can stay in the lane longer. Passive Whisper. So Jin's 4th bullet will now mini crit structures for 44% reduced damage. Which, there you go. And attack speed will be applied properly. So we had talked about this a while ago and asked if the 4th bullet would do extra damage to turrets, and it didn't, and now it does.
Hooray. So he doesn't suck as bad as taking towers,
But like,
which is a huge flaw for him.
he needs that because his attack speed is so low.
Yep.
If he didn't have that, he's just the slowest. What's a main reason you bring AD carries?
To kill turrets.
What can Jhin not do until this
Kill
change?
turrets.
There you go. Problem fixed. Maybe. I don't know even if 44% is enough to
Maybe
make
to
up
Well,
pull
for
it
it.
that's
bar with some
44% reduced damage. So if you're critting for, it's 150% or
Okay.
200%.
So I
right?
think no, it's the crit on
It's
his
150.
4th bullet is 150, and
Okay,
so
yeah.
I assume is that it's 50%, or sorry, it's 44% of 50, which would be you'd have a 122% crit on the turret, which isn't crazy, but it's still nice considering you have to have that huge reload time.
Are
afterwards.
you doing 22% extra damage? Or
Yeah, you just do 122% AD.
So
That's
you're
it.
okay. So you're doing an extra 22% damage when you hit a turret on your 4th attack.
On your 4th attack.
But it
And
also-
is it better
it
to
should-
use that as poke on the 4th attack if
Maybe.
there's somebody under there that you can maybe scare off to get more attacks, or is it worth just shooting the turret?
Well, it's the thing
Choices.
is, I think one of the things that didn't happen before, and I don't remember the interaction quite exactly, is
Wait,
if
why did we
you
say
got the
22?
move
That's not
speed.
right.
44% of the number 50 is 22.
What? That's 1/7 or
Do you really want to like check it real quick? 0.44 times 50 is 22.
oh, that's how you're doing it. I thought you were doing
Yeah,
actual
like
percentage,
people
like
do
removing-
math.
I don't have a calculator in front of me. I'm sorry.
I have my
I was going
computer.
by
That's what I
the
used.
literal percentage. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. What?
Okay, so what I don't remember the interaction is when you hit the crit before the crit, so 4th bullet on turrets. So it didn't do the extra damage. I don't remember if you got the move speed. That's what I'm not sure of, but the way that they're saying it with a mini crit means that
You
it
should get it.
should get it now for
Yep.
sure. I don't remember if you did previously. But that's really nice. I think that's actually bigger than maybe the damage if that wasn't something in effect already, because you're getting like let's say that's the last shot to take it on a turret. There's no execute on it, but still that's a lot of extra damage. You're getting away quickly, kind of like a mini Jinx passive.
Sure.
But for an immobile AD carry, that could be big if suddenly people are collapsing. You're like, well, I need to get away real quick. Crap.
By the way, side note, Shane McMahon versus Undertaker at WrestleMania 32 for control of the WWE. For all of those who care about WrestleMania and stuff, I know it's just one thing, but come on, Undertaker is fighting again at WrestleMania.
How old is Undertaker?
Uh-huh.
Riot-
remember watching that
like,
shit as a
Riot's
kid.
patch notes are getting really weird when they include WWE ads.
Hopefully that's not a spoiler for anybody. I apologize, but I just thought that was really interesting that they're doing that. I don't watch WWE, but I'll watch pay-per-view every once in a while because they're fun. Let's continue talking about Jhin.
That's the second part of that passive. All bonus attack speed will now be appropriately reduced by attack speed slows. Does that mean if you were getting like new snowballed before, that didn't reduce your attack damage?
Yep.
Yep.
Now it does.
Wow,
And Nasus Wither.
that sounds like
Yep.
unintended.
Pretty good.
But
It was
Yeah, so-
one of the few reasons to pick him.
oh yeah. So now if you do see him, put a Nunu snowball on him and reduces AD from like 1600 to
That makes him
1,000.
so much worse.
Yeah, it does.
It makes him so much worse. It's okay.
So is it worth the
he-
trade-off for
he-
the tower crits?
Well, he already has an issue when people can get to him. Now, if you can just slow him, which means, or it's a lot of those things, it's an attack speed slow. We'll talk Wither and Nunu Snowball. Attack speed slow and a regular slow. All right, attack speed slow with Wither, regular slow with Nunu Snowball. Attack speed slows. If people can already get to you when you're slowed like that and you're doing more damage, you are most likely already dead before if they can get to you, because Jhin may as well be a man made out of paper, and a strong breeze will knock him over if applied correctly. Second of all, if he's doing less damage, now he doesn't have any chance at being able to fight back once you get to him anyway.
To counterpoint all this, though, I'm going to bring this to how many champions in the game? What is that, 140 or something like that now? 134? I don't know. There's some ridiculous,
lot of
absurd amount of champions in this game. I like where the game is going with new champions coming out, that the new champions are not must pick or ban or play.
That's
that
fine.
We hear me out here, is that we do have niche pick champions now, and you can play Jhin into a team that isn't slowing your attack speed, like Malphite would kick your ass if you get caught by him. But if the LCS again is any indication of how Jhin can be played, it's because of his ultimate and because of his zone control with his W. Like that ultimate in a team fight that goes correctly destroys you. So I like that. I just like the fact that there is some counterplay to him, and if he gets caught, he's fucked. Like that should be how Jhin is set up.
But that's fine. All things considered, you're still gonna fuck him regardless if his damage is reduced.
That doesn't
or
make
not.
him a bad champion, though.
I'm not saying he's a bad champion.
I know, but you're just saying, like, the way you're arguing sounds like you're saying, why would you pick him?
I'm saying that this is going to hurt him. We're in a spot that he was already hurting pretty bad, and that if people can get to him, if you can apply an attack speed slow to him, it's not just that you already killed him. Like, this is almost overkill to that situation is kind of more my thought for this.
I don't think there were very few times where when I was hit by something like that, I had any chance of survival anyways.
That's exactly
Well, it
it.
could be anything as simple as frozen.
I mean, yeah,
heart.
frozen heart. Yeah, we'll
Heart
just reduce
reduces your AD by
your AD,
100
yeah.
or something
20%
like
now.
that. Yeah, like yeah.
I want to
Well,
talk.
it's not-
and then
Well,
I-
it's not 20% of his AD. It's 20% of the AD
So
is getting from
the
attack
bonus,
speed.
yeah.
Which
we
I
should
don't know how
probably
that
move
affects
on
you.
to talk about these other pieces of this, because there's something else to point out, is that Deadly Flourish is now considered a single target versus champions. So does that make DFT a little bit better on him, or more what's the word I'm looking for? Enticing?
More applicable, more
maybe.
synergistic.
Well, it's the same thing as his ult. His ult is now considered single target versus champions, which is I assume it must have been AoE because it does pierce minions, and they said, okay, let's code it as AoE. Now it's just a single target, so you get more damage off with Deathfire Touch, but I don't know of any other interaction. I'm trying to think of another thing that would matter for single target in this sense, but I can't think of another one. But that's good though. It's a buff to DFT and maybe something else that I'm not thinking of right now.
Captive Audience now applies Deadly Flourish Mark to all champions it slows or damages, not just the one present when it
that's cool.
triggers.
Well, the other
That's
thing,
just good.
the other part that you missed is the marks will no longer fall off while Jhin is casting Deadly Flourish, which is interesting because I don't know what that means.
So what it would mean is that during the animation of casting W, if a mark fell off during that animation and you landed your W, you wouldn't get the root off. Now, if you go to cast the animation, the mark will not fall off in that in between. So if you start your W and there's a mark on somebody,
Oh, it'll
your
act
W
as though
will go
it's-
through. Yes,
That's interesting, I guess.
that's quality of life.
Yeah, definitely quality of life and a good one. Just
Yep.
for the thing that he needs, which is staying safe.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
you're going to
that's
have to
pretty
have some pretty crazy timing and knowing exactly how long marks are going to be on to
It's
get that
actually
right.
fairly long though. Like
It is. It's a while.
It's 4 seconds. Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, that's a pretty long time to get a W
I
off
mean,
that
it-
has the stupidest CC range in the game.
It reapplies every time somebody on your team hits somebody. So like if somebody keeps getting hit, what does that 4 seconds mean? It's nothing if they get hit 10 times in a row. All the time in the world to set it up.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Katarina. Q Bouncing Blade detonation ratio went up by 0.05. from 0.15 to 0.2 ability power. Deadly Steel. Damage is no longer reduced on targets beyond the first. So as long as the blade bounces to everybody, you're going to
does
get
full damage
on.
Nice.
Cool.
Cool. Quality of life. Congrats, Katarina.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's what everyone wants to see back in the game.
Yeah, just the destroyer.
The last time we saw Katarina was Tank Katarina back in like season 3. Tank top lane Katarina. Or maybe, was it early season 4?
That was Void Boy, right?
Yeah, Sunfire Katarina.
Yeah.
That was season 3.
I think we saw her after they kind of reworked her ratios and they put it more of it onto her ult a little bit, and then she went
In
got
solo
her.
queue, yeah.
Yeah.
She got some bans last year in solo
Yeah.
queue. But it's questionable whether or not those are warranted.
That's true.
It's people having the fearful echoes of the Katarinas
Right.
from long ago.
They come out of a Katarina game where they got stomped and like, all right, never again.
Yep.
Ban.
Well, let's talk about Kog'Maw. His attack speed has gone down from 0.665 to 0.625. Now, overall, I don't think this changes Kog'Maw all that
Don't care.
much. Yeah, like big fucking deal. The deal is here. If you read what they talk about it, is that they are looking into how, R and Q interact while your W is active. So that is going to be the change that we're going to pay attention to later, is how R and Q gets changed, because that's going to change. That'll change Kog'Maw significantly. Because
You have no reason to cast those when you have W active.
right.
And why would you interrupt your constant stream of death?
If you got an execute far away, maybe.
No, I think I think they say they want him to feel good about the Q and R when he's not right clicking and standing still.
Yeah, sorry, when he's not. Right. Yeah. Well, that's the point. When your W is active, you're right-clicking and standing still and going and just streaming.
Well, they're
death.
saying
Hot
that
death
because
everywhere.
they're saying that because it's something's happening in 6.5 that they're going to do with him too. That's
Yeah.
what they're saying. Is there's going to be something eventually.
Right. That's
for
what
that.
That's exactly what I was just saying. So that this base attack speed change, big fucking deal. It doesn't change him. It doesn't make him any. I mean, it makes him a little worse, but a minute amount.
Yeah, it sounds like what they're setting up is maybe buffs for Q and R, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a nerf to W.
It has to happen. He's already
Yeah.
100% pick ban, and I think I shouldn't say that. He's close to, if not 100% pick ban in LCS. And yeah, if they were just to like take down 0.04 attack speed and then buff his Q and R,
Yeah, that would be
like
nuts.
like what that would be insane. But I think this is the small tune back and then see where to go from there.
Yeah, we won't see a change for him, so don't expect much out of that. Lucian, our range, the culling went from 1400 to 1200, so lost 200 range on it. I guess just hard to this goes back to the conversation we had a number of patches ago where they feel Lucian is like the
It's
end
perfect.
all be all. Yeah.
He's perfect. There's nothing wrong with him.
And so
It's the
instead of
golden
hitting all
child.
his ratios, they'll take some of his a little bit of his range away. I mean, wasn't it a while ago they took Q range away? That was last season. Or maybe even the season before. They took
Is it Q range or W range?
I think it was Q range. They shortened it a little bit,
Okay.
if I remember correctly.
It was definitely Q range. It was not W. I don't think has been changed
because
range wise.
I'm off the top of my head. I don't have wiki in front of me, so excuse me. I know that I want to say they took the Q range down, and they also made it so that his second auto attack did they change that so it only does like 0.9 damage, or they make it so it did and then they reverted it. I can't remember now. Someone pull them up and tell me.
They reduced the damage on the second hit, and yeah, I think you're right on the Q is the actual cast range that they lowered. You had to get closer to cast it.
Cast range went down by 50. That was way back in 412.
Okay,
All right,
there it is.
Was that the buff when he would just get 40%?
No, that was when they changed Relentless Pursuit so that it had
okay.
no mana cost.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
and it
was
removed
fun.
slows, and you got a reset every time you did anything.
You would max E just to have tons of auto attacks.
And he was banned after that buff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys go ahead and talk about Malphite, and whoever wants to take that, I'll be right back.
Whoa. All right, so Malphite's strong. Malphite's real strong.
Malphite's been strong for a while.
Well, he's but thanks to Grasp the Undying,
Yeah.
staying a bit too healthy in lane and doing a bit too much damage. So they're nerfing his base health regen. It's down from 8.374, which I'm sure all of you at home knew already, that exact number, down to a flat 7. And then nerfing E's damage by, it goes 0, 5, 10, 15, 20 in terms of levels. So it goes from 60 to 200 now.
So
Another super popular pick that's getting hit. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're turning back people who are strong, and and picked constantly.
It's another interesting one. I think I mentioned this last podcast I was on, but tuning characters around one particular keystone kind of worries me. But I mean, I agree. Malphite's really strong right now. A little something, a little love tap can't. I mean, this isn't going to kill him or anything.
Well, this is the only one that he can really go. I feel like. I mean, I guess if you really wanted to be a super tank, you could go something like Bond. But otherwise, like, what else would you possibly go? Thunderlords doesn't even make sense because I mean, you could walk up and get 3 smacks off, but at the same time, you get a grasp instead. So.
Well, I always went Bond to Stone because it's Malphite and he's a rock.
I see what you did there.
I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Welcome back.
Are we ready to talk about Rumble? Did you guys?
Yeah. We got
Go ahead.
All right, so Rumble, they are changing his E that it now works on an ammo system. It no longer... It used to work, you would E, then you would have a short amount of time to fire your second E, but now you'll always have your ammo stock, which I like this change better because you have more options to manage your heat. Because now it costs, instead of a flat 20 to shoot out his Electro Harpoon, it is now 10 per charge. And it works on the ammo system. You get 1 charge every 5 seconds. Okay. The slow duration went from 3 to 2, so it doesn't slow for as long. And if Rumble overheats and he has a charge left, he can fire that second charge while he's overheated.
So one thing I'm not sure of, because of that change, because it was 20, it used to be 20 heat to start your E, which meant that you could fire a second one. Now it's saying 10 per charge. I wonder what happens if you're overheated and you fire that second one after some heat's decayed. Would you potentially get 10 extra heat then, or would it just say now?
No, you can't gain heat while
you're overheated.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry.
There's never been an ability to. There's never been a.
I need to say before you start. Sorry. Is that so? Technically, with this baby, don't fail him now. You could fire your 2 charges while you're overheated, because as long as you have 1 charge, you can fire your Electro Harpoon. So if you overheat and haven't fired your Electro Harpoons,
no. It's if Rumble overheats using Electro Harpoon.
Oh,
not
sorry,
just
using.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you get your second one off.
Yeah, so that's what
I like it.
About.
I wonder why they nerfed the slow duration. It's not like Rumble was really.
He's strong right now. He's super strong.
It's because they want to nerf him out of the
Scary.
jungle.
I lost him yesterday too, so apparently I'm just
out of the jungle
on Gangplank and Rumble. Yeah.
No,
we beat him. We beat him later on. Never mind. He was just knowing early.
I like this change. I think this is a good quality of life, like, to set him up for later, because hopefully they start nerfing some of the other champions and the meta changes a little bit, and he can come back in the top lane, because I think once he does, this gives more usability to his kit, and the fact that you can keep his heat up with that 10 extra rather than doing a 20 and counting. Like, you can use that 10 to keep you into the danger zone to do that extra, and you don't have to overheat, for example.
Danger zone. I
thanks, Kenny Loggins.
One thing I was curious about, if your first harpoon, like as of live, if you use your first harpoon and that puts you into the danger zone, would the second one deal danger zone damage?
Yeah, it should.
It would.
It should, because you're in the danger zone, and then
okay. Well, but it's not activating.
It's not danger
You're
zone.
not in danger
zone.
You're overheat. You're in overheat.
No, I'm not talking about overheat. I'm talking about danger zone.
Danger
zone. You get bonus damage and slow, I believe.
Yeah,
and
the second one would work that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Okay. So, what was it? 2 patches ago? Maybe 3 now? Maybe the last patch. I don't remember. God, too many goddamn patches. Been doing this for too long. Rise Q damage is up because they changed some of Rise, and
somebody brought up that Rise's win rate was abysmal.
Right now, it's like 44%.
It's not good. It's terrible.
No, yeah, because they dropped his how long
Holy shit
passive works. What is it?
He's 57th out of 59 in top lane and last in mid lane at 41% in
mid. Ooh.
Poor
so
guy.
If you want to lose games, pick Rise.
Damage overload went from 60 to 160 to now 60 to 200. It used to go 60, 85, 110, 135, 160. It now goes 60, 95, 130, 165, 200.
So it's plus 10 per level after the first. So that's a huge amount on a queue, but come on. Like the whole point of Rise was being able to spell combo somebody to death, which was frankly pretty unfair when you could be you could get about a half second of movement every 5 seconds, pretty much. It was a good change. Yeah, it was was a good. He seems to be he was good for a little while, but Rise always seems to be very difficult to balance properly.
Yeah, when he's good, he's really,
He
really
kills
good.
everyone.
But he's good. He's oppressive. Yeah.
Where's Mirror Mana Rise? I missed that. Mirror Mana Rise was hilarious.
Oh my god.
Talk about Mirror Mana later.
So
Yeah.
Shen, E-effects monsters. Jungle Shen is now a little bit more viable. And this includes Scuttle Crab, by the way. So you can taunt the Scuttle Crab, stun it, and do more damage.
Honestly, this entire change was meant to affect Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good actually.
But
So now,
are you going to really want a Jungle Shen, though? Like, wouldn't you still want to play him as support? This Actually, this is monsters, not minions. Never mind. Sorry.
Effects monsters, yeah. I mean, Jungle Shen used to be a thing way back in the day, but
still it used to be slow way back in the day,
and
which
people
it still is.
picked it. People,
That's true.
It was picked in both teams in blind pick in like Chinese games and like high level play. I don't know why. I do know why, but it was never super fun to play for me as a jungler. I mean, it was nice once you're level 6 and you could just continue to.
You could save
farm.
the day.
Yeah, you could say
Yeah.
you could non-stop farm and then just gank with your ult. That was nice, but I mean, now he at least has more than one spell that does any sort of damage to anything in the jungle. So, I mean, I don't think this will make him show up there left and right, but he might be slightly more viable in the jungle. That's about it.
Yeah, I played him yesterday for the first time since the rework and played him top lane. Really actually liked the amount of shields you could pull off on yourself. Like that with how much quickness you could pull it off, and I ended up winning a top fight very closely because of that. And I think that's going to be really nice. Like the Shadow Dash for every Shen. It's not like it's good for jungle, but honestly, it's good for all of them. Like if you're top lane Shen, you could just walk down and take Scuttle pretty quick with that.
Right.
That now, thanks to dropping all the armor and MR.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. Plus, you're doing % health damage with your Q on a pretty low cooldown. I found that was up like very frequently whenever you're trying to either fight monsters or even just push a lane. I like it. I need to play more than one game, but it was a good game on him.
I'll do sated Jungle Shen for our next ranking.
Great.
Yep.
Can't wait to see that. Sivir. This is another change I had teased earlier in the patch notes. Sivir's W, her Ricochet. If Ricochet's primary attack is a critical strike, all of that attack's bounces will crit as well.
That's pretty cool.
It's scary because she's actually her W is pretty sneaky good damage in a team fight, especially if that's bouncing to the back line. So
And it's
imagine
not
that
attack
bouncing to the
reset.
back line and it crits, and all of a sudden, hey, where did my health go? Oh, what the F?
It's
You're looking at your death screen, it says Sivir, and like, oh, Sivir was attacking the tank. How did that happen?
It's hard to say if this brings Sivir back. I do think this puts her... If this doesn't bring her back, it puts her on the cusp. Because itemization favors Sivir right now with Essence Reaver. And going into crit, especially now that... So, but her attack range being 500 and that her ult is bringing utility to the team makes it so it's kind of a little janky. Because she doesn't...
It doesn't...
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't really fix any of her problems, but yeah, I see where you're coming from, that, I mean, if it makes her AoE team fights even better, then maybe you can make a case for her. I think she kind of needs some more favorable matchups in lane first. Like, she used to be able to be a solid pick against Corki, but Corki's kind of a little too strong now. If she can start beating him in lane, then perhaps.
So I don't know if you'd ever come into problems with mana once you hit Essence Reaver and probably another item anyways. But if you're getting a crit on each of the bounces, you're just getting mana for days back because each of those would be critting.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it'd be only the first hit.
Does
that would
Essence
proc
Reaver
it.
give first hit? I'm going to type Essence Reaver in now. You're going to hear me type.
I think it's
He says after he finished.
I think this is good, at least for you don't feel punished for like getting some crit items because typically you want to get just a lot of AD because Boomerang Blade has a great ratio and whatnot.
Well, yeah, and you're also getting like you're getting damage to the back line with your crits, like because otherwise, yeah, buying crit doesn't really do a whole lot for you. It doesn't really make sense what you really buy. And now that you're able to translate that to potential backline damage, kind of similar to a Titanic Hydra hitting the backline, That's actually really nice if you can use that in just a fight where there's only champions.
I would
Another
imagine.
problem I just kind of thought of is with the amount of tanks that are going on right now, that's kind of another thing that's holding her down because she's not great at single target damage, killing
She's
that
not a
tank
good-
as quickly as possible.
Yeah, she's
So-
a bad tank buster.
Yeah, this doesn't really help her with that either.
That's kind of where I was going with this too. Is that the meta, the top lane meta or the jungle meta needs to shift a little bit to put her more in favor because right now something that we've noted that I have noticed a lot is that the game favors flex picks quite a bit, where you can flex pick Corki and Graves or Quinn and Corki, whatever, the number of champions you want to pick. Even Nidalee can kind of fall in there. Morgana, like the game, Nidalee's a hard sell. Sorry, Morgana's a better one. And Lux to a degree in solo queue. But still, all these flex picks you can pick while you're doing champion select, so it makes it a lot harder to decide what kind of team comp you want to run while you're watching people pick and ban their champions if you're playing competitively. Because because people's team comps can change, at the drop of a hat. You're no longer going, I want Malphite and I want Sivir, I want to run at people, or I want Maokai and Sivir, I want to run at people.
No, beer.
Nah, it was just a glass falling over.
I honestly don't know really what her win rate was or why everyone was so shitting on her. I mean, I knew a couple of high-level AD carries that still really liked her, although their teams didn't let them pick her. but you could still, I mean, she's high skill cap because using the spell shield for that perfect block, and she's really good in like smaller skirmishes and trading and whatnot because you could do a surprising amount of bursts with an auto W reset, Q, auto, etc. But that short range probably shits on her in lane.
Verdict is still out. Let's put it that way. We'll see. We'll have to play around with her a little bit. I think she's on the cusp of potentially coming back.
Sure, I could see that.
Holy crap, there's so much left.
I know, right? That's what I was thinking. Tom Kench, Q width down. The R is the delay before cast is now 1 second rather than 0 seconds, but the total time is unchanged. The big one here is the width went from 90 to 70. I think that was always the biggest problem playing him in lane. It always felt like if you were getting hit by Q, you were getting hit from it at any angle.
Yeah, pretty hard to dodge.
Vel'Koz, angles.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, yeah, with the way he threw it out. So
But now you can thread it through minions easier.
I'm gonna run smite support Tom so I can smite and Q people.
All right, we're not playing. We're not playing after this.
No, I already said I'm gonna play Alawi.
That doesn't change my opinion on what's
So,
happening.
Pick your poison, tentacles or tongues.
They're all pretty much they look the same. La, la, la.
I'm not going to East anymore
It feels
either.
the
Depends on
same.
what you're watching.
We already talked about having.
Nice.
Wait, no, we're not going that far. Udyr. Leave that to your imagination, Serial. You know what's at East, right, buddy?
I'm just.
He's out. He's checked out.
Chicken out.
All right, so Udyr. They're making some changes to Udyr after the last patch with Runic Echoes. This patch with Runic Echoes. I apologize.
Yep.
W turtle stance shield amount was 60 to 220. It is now 60 to 200, dropping by 5, 10, 15, 20. Doing the math in my head as I look at that. I was
That
never
was
a mathematician.
really impressive.
I was never a
Good job.
mathematician.
Very good math.
Phoenix stance on hit damage was 40 to 200 is now 40 to 180. So seeing the same thing, 5, 10, 15, 20 reduction across the board. Sean?
I was expecting this. Definitely expecting this. Damage is going to be a bit reduced. Runic Echoes still going to give him such a massive boost early. They didn't look at his move speed at all, so that's still going to be an issue because I would argue that his move speed does more than almost any other piece of this. And they might need to look at more with his kit because even before Runic Echoes was in the game, Udyr was still a top 5 jungler. So
the movement speed reduction on Runic Echoes, in your opinion, not enough?
that is going to be good. I don't think it's enough.
Okay.
I think it just makes it so you have to be good at Udyr to play him now, or you have to have a better understanding. Because you were saying that you'd like Sated Devour Udyr.
I personally prefer Devour Udyr
Do you
because
need Tiger?
No, I haven't played Tiger for a while.
Okay.
That makes sense. You get your Phoenix damage off more quickly with Sated.
Well, you get the Phoenix damage off more quickly. Plus, with Sated, you only need Sated, and if you're ahead, you could get a T-Force if you wanted to. But otherwise, you're full tank with Runic Echo Udyr. You go tank, but your first items like Echo into boots into Iceborne, and you feel like you're getting melted by mages if you get caught out by anything. Like you're squishier for your ability to run around and do anything that you want, and that's great, and it gives you a massive advantage early. But like I was talking with Adam today, there's a lot of times where trying to do things early doesn't necessarily translate to winning because teammates, for whatever reason, don't want to take advantage of the fact that you're really ahead. They still want to do the things that they want to do, and when that happens, Say Devour is really, really nice when you can go full tank other than that item and still put out a lot of damage, and for the most part 1v1 almost anybody you want to.
Let's ask Dardoch how well Udyr works, shall we?
All right.
Call him up. Get him on the call.
Nobody else saw that game earlier with Team Liquid.
When they got destroyed.
Yeah, Dardoch was playing Udyr.
It was. I turned it off pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So
Like,
you
what?
don't
This
think
is over.
between the Runic Echoes nerf, these nerfs, and then the boot that he uses nerf that touches his Runic Echoes?
I think it's enough
raffle
for
stop
solo
build?
queue.
Yeah.
But that's where he's strong. I don't think
Right.
he's strong in pro play.
He's always been strong in solo queue though, and it won't translate to pro play because it's too easy to mitigate people who can run at you.
He wasn't must ban strong ever though at high and low, but now he is because of this itemization combination of just having 500 move speed at level 6 or whatever.
5 to 20 damage is quite a lot to take off of an ability, especially when your power spike is around like level 11 or so.
Well, especially when your whole shtick with that is go in, do burst, run around for a second, do more burst. So if like the burst reduction is going to be, that's going to hit him hard to the point where like maybe the attack speed with Devour ends up being
There's got to be a
better
way to
because you
do-
need the extra procs.
There's got someone with better math skills than I could figure this out, but with the move speed reduction, you're getting less Runic Echoes procs, and with the damage reduction on Phoenix, you could probably guesstimate how much damage you're losing.
You
between
could do the
two.
math at the amount of damage lost per step.
Right. Which I'm sure it's a significant amount.
Yeah.
Well, it's nerfing the on-hit damage. I wonder if that's not affecting the initial R proc, which is like that little AoE thing.
It's not. It's not. That's
yeah,
not
it-
the same damage.
It'll only affect like the burst
third
of
hit.
flame that shoots
first
out,
and third
the
hit or
first
whatever.
and third
Yeah.
hit.
Yeah.
It's still going to do the pulsing damage.
Let's talk about Victor, since we spent a lot of time on it here, unless you got more to talk about there.
No, I was just maybe this will bring back Tiger a bit, but Tiger's hasn't been seen in a long time, so
Victor, death ray damage has gone down. It was 70 to 250. It is now 70 to 230, so 20 damage at max. Again, the
the
5,
same
5,
math.
10, 15, 20. What I want to know is the Surrender at 20 notes had mentioned that it was both of the damages that had a reduction, but these notes just mentioned that death ray damage. So, like, the upgraded death ray does... I haven't looked, but does the upgraded death ray do the same amount of damage when it explodes?
Already checking.
Waiting. I want to say it does. And it does like a reduced amount if it hits a champion or something. Or minions. It's something like that.
Yeah, it's the same damage. It's the same damage, and you take enemies already hit by death ray will take 40% damage.
That's it.
So
you
it's
walk
so it's not. It's the same as Surrender at 20. It's the same damage nerf
Okay.
to both portions.
That's actually a significant amount of damage. That's so if you get hit, how much less do you get hit if you get hit by the second attack of it?
40%.
I mean,
So you take 40% damage. So if you're
so you're losing 4 damage at level 2. I mean, you're losing 14 damage at level 2 or rank 3 on this. Because you're losing 10 when it goes across them, and then you're losing 6 when it explodes again. So you're losing 14 damage.
I'm gonna take your word for it on this one. I don't feel like mathing right now.
Well, it's 5 at rank 1. It's 10 at rank 2. 40%
get-
of 10 is 4. So that's 4. If you're taking 40% damage, you only take an extra 4 damage rather than an extra 10 damage. So you're taking 14 rather than 20.
Little love tap.
That's
Does this
it's good. It's
seem
good
kinda
because
random
he's,
for anyone else.
no, it's trying to stop him just being able to clear waves super easily. Like a lot of champs I think can clear a normal like a back line pretty easily, especially in mid lane. But I think the amount that he was able to, while a wave is walking up, set a death ray down
And kill all of it.
and kill almost all. Like
Instantly.
I think the melees might have been a little bit more difficult, but the back wave is gone.
Yeah,
It's
backward
for sure
backwards
gone. So I think that's
But
what they're
it's-
trying to take a little bit off of that because I think you were maxing E just to do that.
Well, Well, you had to. It's
Nothing
also it's also
new,
your
It's
though.
best
also
poke.
best. It's your best poke as well. But like you're getting way too much off of it just because of that. I think.
I mean, he's been able to do that for a long time, though. Which is, I guess
Now
my
he's a
question
little
is,
too
why
strong
now?
about everything else too, though.
Yeah, I agree with Punch, but why now? Why not before when he was super popular?
Yeah,
and
when he was
everywhere?
picked every game.
Seems
I don't
like
know.
Seems
I'm
like
not
an
really
awkward
complaining.
change.
I'm just curious.
I'm complaining. He's the only other mid laner I play besides Annie. Damn it.
I didn't know you played him.
Yeah,
I think it's this is more of a pro scene nerf than it is solo queue. He's pretty bad in solo queue apparently. 46% win
I
rate.
see him a lot in the collegiate scene.
Yeah, I mean like
He's picked
he's
very, very often.
yeah, he's good with a team that's going to follow up with you, but I think solo queue not as much because you don't have as good a communication because you flash ult and get everything like at the right time.
He's also a
That's-
pretty good lane bully for what I've seen.
Let's talk about Xin Zhao. The heal ratio has gone down from 0.7 ability power to 0.4. 0.3 ability
Gross.
power. So,
Surprise when you add an AD ratio to something and you don't nerf the AP one.
and attack speed has been significantly reduced. It was 40 to 80%, is now 40 to 60%. Surprise.
Hey, what's the math on that?
Quite a bit. 20%.
I'm
It's the same thing. It's
And
fine.
in a game,
15, 20.
when you add an 80 ratio and you don't reduce the AP ratio, and an item like Rage Blade exists in the game.
Yeah.
That gives you both.
Yeah, and a bunch of attack speed, which is all he really cares about.
We're basically at the point we're surprised and Zhao's getting nerfed. Like, I think we all saw it coming.
Yep.
He was up for one patch.
Congrats.
Right
He
back down.
returned for one patch.
And all the veterans had flashbacks.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like the AP ratio isn't horrible. Like, I mean, I know that hurts the Rage Blade, like,
Build.
ratio a little bit, but I don't think it's that much. I think the attack speed's the way bigger thing.
Yeah, late game.
Sure.
That's a big nerf.
Actually, I didn't see what people are skilling, but I assume it was.
Q and
We
W.
talked about that. We talked about how that was going to work. Actually, it looks like W is the most frequent first max from OP. It's mostly W max and then Q.
So, other two changes in this patch, because we've already discussed all of the item changes on the last podcast. If you missed those, go back one. Greater Merc Wolf has had a tooltip added to it to tell you how it works, and I'll let Tally explain that one.
Okay, so there was this interesting interaction. If you were to take your wolf and just drag it along with like Syndra or Tom Kench, or somehow you could leash it out there to pass the halfway mark of mid lane in between your two towers on your side, and you were to smite it, it goes to whatever half of the map the wolf does, the spirit wolf does, that it was smited on. So if you were to throw it all on the other half, it would the wolf ghost would go right up mid lane, down the river, and into the enemy jungle and sit there and provide a scout for you. It was kind of broken. You couldn't really do it on that many champions, most notably Syndra or Tom, where you could relocate it and then spit it out and smite it, and then it would just go float down mid lane, down river, and go scout the enemy jungle for free for whatever number of seconds. I forget that it exists on the map. I was really surprised that instead of taking this out of the game, because it seemed like an unintended interaction, that they went ahead and just patched in the notes that it would be there.
Was there a pro that got punished for doing this or something? I could have sworn. there was-
OPL, that happened.
Yeah,
I believe I think there were bans lost. I don't think they actually got punished too hard for it.
there should
but-
be. Yeah, well, they should something anyway.
Well, I mean, if
apologize
it's
to
an
them.
exploit,
Yeah.
if it's something that they can exploit and Riot didn't fix it, like I know I think
This
they were
has
told
been
not to
around
do it.
for over a year, though.
Yeah.
The video that I linked to everyone, and it's I think it hit the front page of Reddit a couple weeks ago. That was recorded in July of 2015, and people said it's been around before then. And then I saw a recent video. Someone just did it with Lee Sin just by killing the two small wolves and unleashing the big one back, and then just literally getting just to that side and smiting it, and managed to do that with any sort of displacement skill like Syndra or Tom have. So I think it's interesting that they're deciding to embrace this as something that you can use rather than removing it. It seems like when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, that seems like it was jankily coded. And
Well, something we forgot to talk about, and Serial just pointed out to me, is that we didn't talk about Iceborne Gauntlet. They slow no longer lingers after leaving the icy ground.
Thank goodness. Oh my gosh, that is I hate Blue Ezreal so much, and I know I just started playing Ezreal, so I have to kind of like it. But the fact that like you still get the slow immediately when it hits, but you don't still get the slow afterwards, which is the big thing, because Ezreal could pump out slow fields that lasted the entire time, like permanently because of quick CDR. It's just stupid. But it did get a few other changes. Like the size went down, like 190 to 180. But you also, the size ratio, if people didn't know this, because it almost was never seen, that there's a size ratio based on bonus armor, which was kind of, so I think somebody put a video up a while back when this change happened that was Malphite with like 1,000 armor or something, and hitting like the Scuttle Crab, the size was just like the entirety of the river between lanes. Not that would ever happen, but it was hilarious to see. But it's a good change that was helping his, like, some people, Ezreal's kite way too much.
On top of his R change, hopefully we'll see a little less Ezreal. We actually talked about, I think we talked about all the other item changes. I don't see anything else in this patch that we didn't already.
We've covered all of these.
Discuss.
You missed last episode, I believe. Tally,
yeah, sorry, Tally. If you want to listen to those, go back one.
I just was wondering if we were going to cover what was for sure going to be in this patch, but
No, all those ones are still in. It's the Titanic Hydra build path.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, Stark's Gauge build path changed.
Right.
That was the other big one. Exposed Weakness is still one I'm really curious to try out.
I think we all
yeah.
We'll talk about those. Well, hopefully we'll talk about those on Wednesday. Maybe we'll get a game.
Once we see them, I'd like to see that one in action first.
Sure. One last thing to note, and probably nobody was doing this here, but the first wave of minions cannot be obstructed. They ignore unit collision now.
Yeah.
So you saw that in LCS where some people were blocking the minion wave on the way to bot lane. Can't do that
thought you
anymore.
couldn't do
We're not
that
Dota.
anyway.
This isn't Dota.
You weren't supposed to be able to do it.
I thought they couldn't do that because they sped up anyway.
Well, you could.
I mean, they messed with the minion collision a lot. Not recently, but
Yeah, maybe
I don't know, however long
this
ago.
must have popped back up because they used to make
Yeah.
it so that if you obstructed the minions, they would just speed up and catch up anyway.
Be great if
So-
they just killed you instead.
They get the fuck out of my way.
I started attacking you.
They
The tower,
attack you.
the
That'd be
turret,
wonderful.
the base turret is like, hey, back off.
Quit touching them.
Return to the field. Return to the field. Killed.
That's it. That's patch 6.4, boys. We made it through just about everything. I mean, we didn't get to talk about all the items, but we did that before. That's why we kind of go on PBE and talk about some of the stuff. Plus, I don't think any of the ratios are what that changed anyway. So,
Cool. We did it.
Chira,
Hey,
why do you look so sad tonight?
I'm not sad, man.
You just kind of just like look in your face, just chilling.
I am chilling. I'm
Wait,
tired.
That
It's
would be
also the fact, like, my shoulder's been killing me lately, so I'm on some medication for it.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you guys want to get medicated, head over to TrinityForceNetwork.com as we fill your brain full of the
Get
Trinity
medicated with
Force
knowledge.
medication. Yes. I love the cereal box expressions where it's always like, what? Wow,
Someone's
that's
excited.
awkward.
Yeah, I'm gonna let that one stew.
Guys, enjoy that while we end this abruptly. Thank you so much for listening to episode number 337 of the Trinity Force. It just keeps going. Guys, we'll see you.
See
Bye.
you guys.
See ya.
Bye.